Hi and welcome everyone back to the channel. I'm Carlos, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing because what we're doing is we are all together learning how to tell our own stories. In this video, what I wanted to do is show you guys a new album cover that I'm about to finish. If you look at this piece, you see that the characters within this piece are pretty much completely different than the characters that I usually draw. For example, this is one of my characters. A very important point to keep in mind when you're making art, especially for other people, is your style or who you're trying to be as an artist doesn't always blend into the client's vision. So you should work on having some flexibility. There are some times where people reach out to me and they specifically want my style, but I also try to remain flexible, so just in case they want something a little bit different. However, this video is going to show all of us how the same approach can actually yield a completely different art piece. This girl here specifically, I was quite proud of her. She came out pretty good. This is a little bit different than what I usually draw. So let's go ahead and get into that, but first, and welcome back. From this point on, I'm going to be drawing on my computer, and the reason why I wanted to use Sketchbook is one, I love the brushes in this application, and two, it's free. All you have to do is go to sketchbook.com and they have all of the downloads there. You can get it for Mac, you can get it for PC, and you can get it for your devices. I use it on my iPad all the time. But this time, I'm just gonna go ahead and use it for the desktop. Even though the interface for Sketchbook is super simple, we're not gonna worry about that. Maybe I'll do that in a different video, but for now, all we're gonna do is worry about the brushes and the different layers. All we're gonna do in this video is go over the rules of drawing a face, and then we're going to look at how to bend those rules to really bring home our own style. So first, what we're going to do is draw a circle. Okay, now that we have our circle, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just put down a round shape, because later I'm going to show you how we can actually squash that circle around and make different shapes of heads. But for the most part, we're going to start with the circle. Now that we have our circle, I'm going to draw a line right across it. Nice straight line right across it. Later, I'm going to show you guys how if we move this line up and down, it will affect the character design and even the age of the character that we're drawing. You see these points here where this line touches the circle? Go ahead and draw straight lines coming down. While we're drawing vertical lines, let's go to the halfway point of this line and draw another vertical line. This one, let's make it nice and long. Let's go ahead and draw a V shape down here. So the point where this middle vertical line touches the circle, go ahead and draw a triangle there, and then draw a longer triangle on top. And that's our nose. Sometimes I'll even come in here and just draw a circle. And I'm going to go back to drawing my triangle and triangle. So really it's just kind of like a diamond. While we're here, let's go ahead and draw a circle right bumping up against that line, and then again another circle bumping up against that line. These are our eyes. One of the rules when it comes to eyes is they should be as separate as your eyes are wide. So if I were to take this circle and copy it and drag it to in between those two circles, that middle circle is telling me how far to separate my eyes. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rule depending on the characters that we're trying to draw. We'll get to that in a little bit. Now let's talk about the ears. If we're going to be drawing an ear, the rule behind the ears are this eye line here. If we draw a C shape over here, the C should end up at the bottom of our original circle. here, I'm gonna do a D shape. If I cut the circle in half, come down to the bottom of the circle, I'm gonna come down just about that same distance and draw another line. And technically that's where our V should go. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase that. And from here, if I wanted to draw a mouth, I would come to just about the halfway point here, and maybe even come up just halfway up more than that. So I'm going to draw a line here, and we could even keep this line here to indicate either this little crease for our chin that a lot of people have, or even a bottom lip, depending on how big someone's bottom lip is. So if we do like that, it's a bottom lip. If we do like that, it's the chin. Either way, I'm just going to keep that line there. The rule behind our mouth and how wide our mouth is, generally speaking, is if you draw a line halfway down your eye, come straight down, both sides, that's generally speaking how wide our mouth is. I'm gonna come up here halfway between the eye line and the top of the circle, roughly here, and even if I wanted to come up a little bit more, that's where our hairline is gonna be. And that's where we're able to, you know, just draw a little curve like that. And now that we have our head pretty much drawn out, I wanted to point out something. Our ears don't necessarily jet out of the side of our head like that. The back of our head or the side of our head, generally speaking, comes out just a little bit like that. Give that ear a little space in there. And what that is doing is it's showing us that the back of the head actually goes behind the ear. And that's a pretty good template for us to use. So what I'm going to do is bring the opacity down. And if you look on this little blue bar, what I'm going to do is grab that dark blue handle and drag that down. And we see our opacity is going down. Okay, so I'm going to lock that. And this is the point where we can talk about what it is that your piece is going to go into. The more realistic that you want your piece to be, the more detail and the more accurate you draw something. If you want it to be like me, if I wanted it to be a cartoon, I don't necessarily need all of the detail. But let's go ahead and take a look at how we can make this into, I don't know, let's make a cartoon. If I was doing a comic strip, I might come in here and draw a guy's ear like so. The eyes might just be circles, and the nose might be as simple as a couple of curves. And let's go ahead and draw in some eyebrows. Since it's a guy, I'm going to give him big bushy eyebrows. Okay. And then as a mouth, it depends on what they're saying, obviously. But let's go ahead and stay with a closed mouth. We can even give them a little bottom lip there. Okay. And now these vertical lines here on either side, this is kind of our cheek, bottom jaw area. So if I wanted this guy to be a little bit more on the slender side, what I want to do is just curve that chin down and curve this one down too. And then just for kicks, just to finish him off, let's give him a mohawk. Bring that down like that. And we can even give little details here to the to the mohawk part. When you're looking at someone, you can still see the side of the head. So that's a decision that I'm going to make as far as character design goes. I'm going to just put in a little curve right there and right there. And if I turn off our guide, we can call that our comic strip character. Okay, let's get a little bit more realistic. I'm going to draw some eyebrows just because the eyebrows actually called to me. Okay, and now that I have my nose here, what I'm going to do is maybe round this off a little bit. And come in here with some nostrils. And if you notice at the bottom of the nostril, when your nostril comes down, it then connects with this little, I don't know what this is called, but this line that separates your nose from your cheek. So we can come in here and do like that. Okay. And the ears, just because we're here. And this is a point where, you know, it all depends on how realistic you want to get. Again, my artwork, I always try to be very cartoony. So the eyes that I would be working on probably wouldn't be all this detailed, but what I would do if to go a little bit more on the realistic side, you have to remember that the face is rounded, the eyes are actually spheres. So whenever there's anything laying across your eye, you have to figure out the angle of the curve that the eye is actually affecting. So what I'm going to do is go up and over and a little bit down. And a lot of times what people will do to show that this is an eyelash, they'll start out thin and then they'll come in here with a thicker line. Or if you're trying to draw someone that's a little more feminine or a little more made up, you could even come in here and give the character some eyelashes like that. I kind of like that, so let's go with that. And again, here I'm going to come up and across and down, and then eyelashes. And there's a part of your eye that's this crease over the eyelid. You could even come in here and throw one of those in there. Now let's go into the mouth area. What I'm going to do is put in the corner of the mouth. And if you remember in one of my earlier videos, I'll leave a link right there. The simple way to remember how to draw a mouth is 3 letters, M-U-V. Draw an M right here. U would be the bottom lip. And what I'm going to do is just come in from the corner just a little bit. Again, these are things that you can decide you want to do as the artist. These are the decisions that make your style your style. I don't necessarily have to come in a little bit. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Okay, and then I'm gonna come in here and draw a V. The V is the opening to the mouth. And everything is coming out a little crooked, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's get back to our eyes. Okay, and this, what I'm going to do is drop down just a little bit and then come across. And then we can draw in a nice big circle for the pupil. From here, probably what I would do is I would bring and curve this down just a little bit. And again, on this side, try to get the same curve. Let's see what we have so far. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's clean this up a little bit though. And for now, we're just gonna throw in these lines here just as a neck. Let's give our character a cool hairstyle. It comes down like this. And then this comes up and creates this this shape here. And then there's another piece that comes around like this. And take note of how I just draw over lines that I've already created, because eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this layer, turn this layer off, turn this layer down, create another layer, and then I would probably come in here with, say, maybe an ink pen and ink this up. Let's go back to our head. Size her down and move her off to the side. So now let's go really, really cartoony. Let's say I wanted to make these eyes like so. When you're doing eyes in a really cartoony way, to show the eyelash, what you could do is come up around here and again, just make it a little thicker on that side of the circle. And again, a little thicker on the outside of the circle. And we can come in with some eyebrows. And we saw this a little bit earlier when we were drawing our female character. Our ears are here. So our sideburns are visible even if we're looking straight at each other. So what I'm going to do is just draw over my ear. And that is my sideburn, and the side of my head, I can come in and draw a shape like that. And then again, the back of the head comes up. And if we wanted to, this guy here has a receding hairline, but we can come in here and give him a head of hair. Now let's finish up the nose. Here's another way you can draw a nose. Just put in the nostrils there. You could even put in some lines in there. Let's say he's somewhat confused. So now let's say we wanted to make this guy a heavy set guy. Depending on how heavy I wanted to make him, what I could do is come in here and give him some cheeks here. And then really come in here and add some weight. And we could even draw this here to show the chin. So it doesn't really matter how much weight you gain or lose. Where your chin is basically going to be there all the time. So it just depends on how much weight you want to add to the skeleton. And then again, if we wanted to, we could do like that. So there's another one of our characters based off of the same exact template. Now let's talk about moving these lines to really affect the look of your character. Generally speaking, if you take the eye line and you move it up the circle, the older someone is going to look. And that's because, I don't know, life and gravity both just weigh down on you and pull everything down. What I'm going to do is create a new layer here based off of this same circle. Let's draw the same circle. But I'm going to move this line way up here, and then I'm going to come down with that same vertical line. And let's go ahead and bring these vertical lines down too. So now that we have the shape of our head down, I'm going to go ahead and turn off our original template. What this template is showing us is that if we move things around, we can start manipulating some of the rules that we already know. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw some little tiny ears up here. Let's really get in there and put some eyes real close together. Give them some eyebrows. And now we could draw a big old nose that comes down like this. If this is the look that we're looking for, we can do that. However, what I'm going to do is show you guys that this line here doesn't necessarily have to remain the part of your nose. So I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to draw a little circle like this. And if I wanted to, give them some nostrils. And then if I really wanted to go crazy, I could come up here and just kind of give them a real pointy head. Get rid of some of that. And now that I'm drawing him, I can see where, oh, let's give him some sideburns here. And maybe he has balding issue. Let's finish up the side of his head here. That comes into, if we wanted to, we can give him a real nice big smile. And maybe his chin is down here somewhere. I knew I drew all over this same template, but I'm going to turn this down, create a new layer, and just really, maybe those eyebrows there, maybe his eyebrows are part of his eye. And we can bring his eyes in like this. Another trick that you can use to bring a little bit more age to a character is giving them some bags under their eyes. So you bring that crease down, bring that one down. Now let's work on his nose. I'm going to come down a little bit. I'm going to try to stay consistent with the shapes that I'm making on the other side of the character. I know that there's some reflection tools that you can use to do this. No one's face is absolutely perfect. Well, unless you're like a Matthew McConaughey or a Jennifer Aniston. They're just absolutely perfect. We're not. Okay, so now we have this huge smile. And maybe we give him the bottom lip. If you notice, I'm drawing a template and then I'm drawing on top of the template, and every time I draw the same character, more of his story comes out and my drawings are getting even better. So feel free to use as many layers as you can to get to the character that you're looking for. Okay, so we're gonna give him his sideburns. They come down like this. And then his little ears there. Ear there. Okay, we do like that. And then up here, his hair is going to come out from the back of his head, so I want to show that like that. And if I really wanted to, I can come in here. If he was having a really bad day at work, I'm just going to throw in some really scraggly hairs here, just to show that he's really struggling. Same on this side. I'm not gonna be too careful with his hair. I just wanna make it look like he's having a rough day. And if he's a little bit older, chances are he has these forehead wrinkles. So let's just go ahead and throw some forehead wrinkles in there. Okay, so then here, let's give him a couple cheeks. And And then we can bring this down. Okay, and then his chin. And if we really wanted to go crazy, let's go ahead and turn this off. See what we have. You see this part? I don't know what this part is. I forgot what it was called, but it's something cool. Maybe we just do, okay, and maybe he has like some razor burn, some razor bumps. We can give him that. And maybe he has a wart down here. So let's give him a cool wart. A couple hairs coming out. But you see how we can go from basic shapes and just keep going. And then whatever the story of the character is, while we're creating those characters, we can just keep telling us the stories of those characters, and we can incorporate that character's life into the character design. And like it or not, someone's story is displayed on their body, whether it's piercings or tattoos or just age. If you're sitting in the sun, you might be a little darker. You might have sunspots or even a little more wrinkles than normal because you just got cooked in the sun, you know? So all of those things go into your character design. So I'm feeling pretty good about him. We're gonna move him off to the side. Let's go back to our original template. Now let's take that cross line and move it down so I can show you guys how you can move it down to actually make the character look younger. I'm gonna draw the same circle, or try to draw the same circle. But this time the cross line, what I'm gonna do is move it way down here. And then I'm gonna bring this vertical line down. And again, where this horizontal line touches the circle, I'm gonna go ahead and bring vertical lines down. And again, let's do a V or a U shape for the chin. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that layer off because it's a little distracting now, but you see how a bulbous head is already in the works. And generally speaking, babies have heads that are a little bit bigger on top. What we're going to do is then also draw a horizontal line at the bottom of the circle. And then again, halfway from the bottom of the circle to the chin would be around here, but I'm gonna go ahead and move it up just a little bit more. That line there. And again, the ears start at the eye line and end at the nose line. And when you're drawing kids, you might want to draw huge eyes. The bigger the eyes, the little more friendly they are, the more cuddly they are. So let's go ahead, we're gonna get ridiculous. We're gonna draw some really huge eyes. I'm gonna make them pretty close to each other because again, we can do what we want. Some eyebrows here. Really big pupils. And a cute little spot for the nose. Lock that down, bring down the opacity. Let's see what we can do to create a cute baby. Okay, we can start with the mouth. Just get that out of the way. Cute little baby nose. What we can do is something like that. Babies generally have these really cute chunky cheeks. So kind of like the chunky dude that we drew earlier. So now I'm gonna try to make these cheeks where it comes down, but then it kind of like comes down and swerves out like that. And then bring this all the way down here, and again on the other side, down and out. When you look at a baby, even though they're a little bit chunky and soft, you can always see this cute little chin there. So let's go ahead and give them a cute little chin. And I'm just gonna do an upside down curve. If I wanted to, I can come in here and accentuate that a little bit more. Now let's throw in an ear. Our baby is going to stay bald, so what I'm going to do is come over to the ear, move in just a little bit and finish this curve. Same on this side. There we go. Clean that up just a little bit. If we wanted to, we can just give them one hair. It's the potential of a full head of hair. Okay, then as far as the eyes, what we could do is just come up and around. Try to figure out the shape that we're looking for. Okay, and what if we had some pupils there? Some dilated pupils. Since baby are not generally hairy quite yet, and give them some eyebrows. And let's finish up this ear. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this video because it's getting kind of long. But the next few videos, what I'm going to do is show you guys how not just moving that horizontal line up and down, how that affects the characters, but also if we take those vertical lines and start moving those side to side, how that affects where your character is looking and how the different body parts are adjusted according to that line. I'm also going to be drawing more in my own comfortable style. If you learned something in this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you know anyone that is looking to get into cartooning and drawing faces, go ahead and send this video on over to them. And if you haven't yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you'll see this little bell that's right next to the subscribe button. Go ahead and click on that so every time I come out with something new, you'll be alerted. I hope this video finds you healthy and safe. Now go out there and live your life so you can tell your own stories. See you in the next one.
Coconut tresses.